our international section, we want to make a historical account and even that marked a before and after for Greece and the Eurozone. It has been 11 years since the government of Georgios Papadou revealed that the previous government in Greece was falsifying its economic reports before the European Union and uncovered one of the greatest threats to the Mediterranean country and its allies.
Yes, Valentina, since 2001, Greece has replaced its national currency with the euro. This decision was made with a view to advance with economic and monetary integration of the European Union. This had a positive impact in the economy of this country. In general, between 2002 and 2007, the euro area benefited from a good economic growth, as well as growth in loans to the private sector and domestic demand.
However, in this same period of time, while Greece spent more capital than it entered, it was borrowing more and more, but it made up its reports to the Eurozone to prevent the real figures from being known, which breached the pact made between the EU countries in the 2001. Between 2000 and 2009, under Kostas Karimanlis, Greece failed to comply with the European Union Stability Pact. 2 years later, in 2010, Greece announced that its public deficit exceeded the 13% of its GDP and became the first country of the Eurozone in breaching the parameters established in the Stability and Growth Pact, according to which the public deficit cannot exceed the 3% and the debt must be below 60%. Immediately after this announcement, the Eurozone countries came to Greece's rescue through the development of rescue packages on the condition that the country incorporated fiscal adjustments programs in order to receive this aid.
According to a report by the London School of Economics, in 2010, the financial situation of Greece started the Eurozone crisis generating a quarter of their output to be lost, and the unemployment rate up to 28%.
In order to hide this data from the Eurozone, Kostas Karamanlis, president during the periods from 2004 to 2009, and with the help of the Goldman Sachs banks, manipulated official statistics and committed systematic irregularities that were subsequently denounced by a report by the European Commission. This situation became known only until the arrival of a new president, Georgios Papadou. This situation created a threat to the European Union as it created an atmosphere of mistrust to invest in the Eurozone and in the EU as such, for in the face of weak stock markets and monetary policy is what feared that other economies would be the same as Greece.
This crisis was on the way for Greece to a possible exit from the euro. However, making this decision was not a win-win situation for either side. On one hand, if Greece exited the eurozone, it would put its economy at risk because, in addition to having the need to spend money on logistics to reintegrate the drachma, the currency will be devaluated, the price of imports will increase, and a flight of capital would be generated, exposing the Greek financial system to the imminent bankruptcy.
But Greece's exit from the Eurozone was not a good option for the rest of Europe either, most of all because all of the non-payment of debt. In this situation, the Eurozone countries had to recapitalize their balance sheet and reach an economic agreement.
Therefore, countries belonging to the European Union were forced to intervene for fear of a default, and it was determined that the best way to contain the crisis was applying the austerity measures that, according to plan, would allow financing a financial rescue.
As a result of the crisis, the European Union and the International Monetary Fund approved the first financial aid package the 2 of May of 2010. They provided €100 billion to the Greek government to assist them reducing debts with the private banks of the region. Furthermore, Greece was not the only country having trouble. In the same situation were Portugal, Ireland, and Cyprus. For that reason, finance ministers of the European Union agreed on rescue measures worth nearly $1 trillion for its struggling economies.
On February 21 of 2012, the EU ministers and the IMF members approved a second bailout for Greece, this time for €130 billion, including a 53.5% debt amortization in the agreement. Both institutions reviewed the aid deal for Greece and determined lower interest rates, bailout loans, and debt buyback program, allowing the country to cut its debt GDP ratio to 124% by 2020.
Yes, Laura, despite all efforts, in 2015, Greece became the first developed country to default on a payment to the IMF, which was equivalent to €1.6 billion. The third bailout program was worth up to €86 billion, and this time the IMF refused to participate in the contribution for the third rescue package until creditors provide Greece with significant debt relief. In 2018, Greece exited the final bailout program, receiving the last loan from European creditors, and that year, Greece owed to the EU and IMF roughly €290 billion. Since that date, Athens committed to run a budget surplus averaging 2.2% of GDP through 2060, accept the continued EU financial supervision, and imposed additional austerity measures with purpose of keeping its debt sustainable. Already 2020, the public debt was €341,000 million with a debt of 205.6% of GDP. At that time, it was the second country with the highest debt with respect to gross domestic product, and it was one of the countries with the highest employment rate.